views and opinions expressed on Geeks Under the Influence are that of the panelists and not of our sponsors, Amazon.com and TeePublic. Parental discretion is advised.
I just think if I'm living in the super future where robots have taken over and I'm living in a little gel pack to make battery juice for the robots, throw in some fucking IP that I like into my Matrix like world. Like give me, let me be like the next door neighbor on Three's Company. Let me
produce something as good as Disney Plus has been doing.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But imagine, like, I would be happy to be like, do you want to leave the Matrix? And I'm like, no, because I can fly like Boba Fett ship now. So can you do that in your world? No? Okay, then fuck off. Like, leave me.
If that were the case, yeah.
Yeah.
If it were the DCEU, or whatever, I'd be like, no.
No, yeah, it's just sad, angry Supermans everywhere. No, that wouldn't do it for me.
No, it's terrible.
But no, the formerly the Slave One was the name of a ship. They've changed the name of it now, I think. And
Fire Sprayer or something. Fire
Spray, I think, it's something like that. Yeah.
I didn't think they'd settled on a name yet.
Well, technically, the Fire Spray is the
class of ship
that it is. So I think they're just referring to it as the Fire Spray instead of the Slave One.
What?
Yeah, that's the thing now.
Seriously?
Well, I mean, considering that with the Book of Boba Fett, which spoilers for that moving forward, he's not really like helping people get slaved anymore. Like he's not like a slaver really. That the Slave One, he'd be like just kind of embarrassed about.
Doesn't make any sense. It's a name. So like if the Falcon becomes an endangered species, are they going to rename it the Millennium Pigeon?
No, I mean, if I think falcons start enslaving other birds, I think they might change the name. Falcons are taking down pigeons and making them do their dirty work. Yes, then I think they might reconsider the name. But
God damn it!
I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it's the thing that like conservative types point to as liberals being super crunchy and hyper-reactive, but it's literally just Disney trying to stay one step ahead, and nobody asked for it, and nobody really cares.
No, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, it is an unnecessary thing.
Entirely.
But it's also a thing that doesn't really change much, Like...
No, it's been changing a lot lately.
Well, no, okay, Boba Fett did change a lot, but that's not because of the name of the ship.
No.
That's something that I do want to get into a little bit, is like Boba Fett went from like evil bounty hunter to like badass to...
Badass.
So like,
with a badass ship name, everything was awesome about him. Now they're going to like, he's flying in like the purple tulip now?
Yes,
what the fuck is the name of his ship? Like, I don't even know.
No, he like makes friends with like a little kid sand person, and then he's just like, "Oh, I'm good now." Like that was the whole trajectory of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
That ninja sand person taught him how to use a stick, and then he had a little kid sand person he was friends with, and then suddenly he's like, "No, I live by a strong moral code, and I don't kill people if I don't have to."
All right. Yeah. We should
get into it. Yeah. This episode of Geeks Under the Influence is going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, the new series from Disney Plus. Along with the character himself, we're going to be digging into his previous history and its relation to this version of Boba Fett that we see in his own series, or mostly his own series, save for one or two episodes that will also be a discussion.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have not seen Book of Boba Fett, if you've not seen The Mandalorian, catch up. They're all on Disney Plus. All the episodes are now out and available, so give that a look. And or if you don't care about spoilers, then come on in, because we're doing plenty of spoilers on this episode of Geeks Under the Influence. Welcome. Woo! Oh yeah.
Things at work and shall be again. Attending on the guards, the guides marching in. You think you can hold out, but you know you're wrong, so you better join us now. You better do it fast, or you will be dead.
Book of Boba Fett, the one character that had like 4 lines in all of the original trilogy and was considered the most badass person ever, and now has a dad bod.
I mean,
what? He doesn't have a dad bod. Like, he's thick, but it's not.
Okay, that's true. Like he's got muscle mass for sure.
Yeah,
but
it's not dad bod
He's a
territory.
thick
But
bitch.
that Fett armor is not fitting quite as well as it used to.
Well, he's built like an aging MMA fighter. So
Right.
like his
give him some
armor,
credit.
like his stomach sticks out of the bottom of the armor, like mine does out of the bottom of shirts. It just like peeks out. Like,
No,
it doesn't.
not quite
doesn't.
that bad, but
Yeah,
it is just.
Don't hate on Boba.
No, and it's loving picking. Is that Tamura Morrison? It's the actor's name, I believe. He's great. I think he's done a great job with the character, but he is up there in age. He's in his, I think, 50s.
True.
So it's hard to be like the badass of the Star Wars universe in your 50s when you're having to do a lot of heavy fighting style stuff.
I don't have any complaints with his performance.
Well, I would say what's cool is that they did incorporate a lot of the traditional fighting styles, like the Haka fighting styles and stuff, into
Yes.
his fighting methods, which I think is incredibly cool.
All right, let's introduce motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, we got to do that whole thing. Okay, so we got
so we can all like
a
contribute.
cavalcade of characters here
Do
to talk
this.
all things Boba Fett. To my left, returning from, I think Dune was the last episode you were
Yes.
on, where we finally gave you your GUI nickname.
Yes, finally.
Audrey and Antilles.
Atreides.
Atreides.
Yes.
Atreides. Not Antilles. Yeah, Atreides. Yes.
Yeah.
Audrey Atreides.
Atreides is
Hello.
here. Hello. Getting you on all the sci-fi stuff. The sci-fi stuff in the 80s that then got modernized
Yeah.
recently.
I don't fault you for being on a Star Wars kick with Antilles.
Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, Atreides. No, I like that.
Atreides. Yeah. Back from Dune. So not too long ago you're on here. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And somebody coming back that hasn't been on for a little bit. What was the last episode you were on?
Mandalorian season 2.
Wow. Okay. So you're just here for all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's been about a year.
Whereabouts?
It was back when we were still very much. You had to drop microphone off at my house.
That's
to do-
right. Yeah. That's when we were still doing like a lot of remote stuff. And,
Remote, yeah.
We got Red Patch. Lorna is here, a web designer extraordinaire and a GUI panelist from the OG, from like
Oh yeah.
the old school, when we're still 6-person panels and drinking for like 6 hours during recording times.
Yeah.
Oof.
Ooh, you had to pace
Yeah.
yourself for that one.
Oh,
I did not successfully pace myself on all of the times.
None of us did the best job back
Oh,
then.
neither did I, but I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
And a gentleman that has been on the network for pretty much the entire ride, the co-host of Beautiful Disasters and regular panelist on GUI. We got Herr Grutz here.
Jawohl.
And we've talked Star Wars more times than I can fucking count in our friendship.
Oh, yeah. And we still have yet to commit to the full-on Laserdisc view party of the original trilogy, unfucked with by
Yes.
George Lucas.
That needs to happen. You need to do like a old school, like driving in my living room
May
style.
is only a couple months away.
That's a perfect month for
That's
Star
going to be
Wars
a
fun.
party.
Yeah.
Because I got a good home theater.
Excellent. No, I'm down. Star Wars on Laserdisc.
Damn right. And of course, last but not least, the creator of the Geeks Under the Influence network and the progenitor of many a podcast on this network, Mike the Hobbit Bickett.
Hello. And a little quick announcement on that as well. There was a little bit of a hiatus with Smack My Pitch Up. Schedules were getting a little bit tough, and the show just needed a little bit of a, not necessarily rebrand, just a slight retooling. And it's going to be pretty much the same show that it was before, but fortunately, what's going to help a lot is regular panelist Tondi is joining me as my co-host on Smack My Pitch Up now. And so we're going to be occasionally having guests, but not having to for every episode necessarily, and just kind of waxing poetic about the material and doing the casting and all the stuff that we've done before. So
I
It's,
cannot wait to welcome a new showrunner to the club.
absolutely. And that episode should be dropping, our first episode together, just a couple days after this episode drops. So
Sweet.
it's a brand new cover with me with a mullet. So that's...
I did appreciate that visual. That was good.
It looked unfortunately good to a point where when I could maybe pull off a mullet, I'm not gonna, but it looked too natural
I mean, I think you could rock it with your man prees.
with my man prees.
Yep.
Man, I have not rocked my man prees in a while.
Well, it has been cold as fuck.
Yeah, I'm currently rocking Adidas track pants.
There you go.
So still, obnoxious, but in a different form. But onto the material at hand. We're talking Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
That's just dropped 8 episodes, I think. 7 episodes of this show. What are our overall feelings to start about the show? Like, does everybody love it, hate it, mixed feelings? What are we looking at?
For the most part, I loved it. Structurally, I felt it was like kind of off a little bit, but otherwise by the end, like all those like interludes and everything that they took, they finally kind of came together. It was like, what the fuck? Yes.
It was a pretty solid finale.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was pretty slow to get to where I was super stoked on it. Like the first 2 episodes, I was like, I don't even know if I want to finish this.
The first episodes were a little bit drawn out, and I understand that you need to try to explain where Boba Fett's been for a while, because this is taking place maybe like, 5, 6, 7 years after Jedi?
Yeah.
So he's been hanging out with the Sand Folks for a while. And
It's true. It also happens to be a part of the Mandalorian, sort of like, situation. But we're getting some pre-story prior to the hookup with the Mandalorian series. So it was a little disjointed early on, but that weirdness of storytelling, the back and forth from, escaping the Sarlacc pit to modern day trying to like figure shit out in Tatooine, take over, the crime empire. It was funky how it went, but they put it together in the second half of the series, which I imagine we'll delve into hardcore
definitely
a little later. Like everybody else, I was worried about how it started.
The biggest bone to pick that I have with this series is that I do have slightly mixed feelings about it, but overall I think it was a lot of fun to see kind of the backstory where he's been since the Sarlacc pit, why his focus in the world has changed since the last time we saw Boba Fett. The challenge that I had with that is that the years passing were kind of underexplained. It felt like he was hanging out with the Sand People for like a few weeks, and then suddenly it was modern day. There wasn't really a big translation into him fully adopting the culture and doing the like dances with wolves thing, and just like becoming part of their tribe. And that's what felt a little bit just disjointed to me, is that it showed him getting up into like learning about community and their culture and like respect for the land and all this stuff that is going to be important to the character later. But it didn't show the character arc very much before he just showed up in town. No, I'm going to rule like out of respect is my move now. And it seemed a little, I don't know, out of character. I wanted a little more ruffian, a little more anti-hero from Boba Fett, I think.
Yeah, because I think going from like when he gets out of the Sarlacc pit to, yes, he was captured, and I felt like that kind of humbled him, I guess, in a way. But we didn't see that progression from like, okay, yes, he was like the best bounty hunter besides Cad Bane.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah, we will.
But yeah, so there wasn't that much of a progression, like how he goes from like top of the bounty hunting. I'm already fucking up my words. Top of bounty hunting. And then suddenly he's just so like humbled, he's part of, and I think that's part of the series is just getting into a tribe and everything. So he did integrate himself into this tribe. And I think they didn't clearly go over his motivations with taking over the crime syndicate. But
True.
I think a lot of it was, he's looking for a tribe.
Yeah, trying to find his own tribe, because the Sand People got fully decimated. And so finding that new community that it can be part of.
Yeah, and I did really like that they showed more depth to the Sand People, because like in the original series and then the prequels, they're always just savages and everything. So I appreciate that they kind of gave them more depth in this series.
And that started with The Mandalorian, where when they were passing through Tusken territory, and you see the Mandalorian like doing like sign language and communicating with them and giving respect to it being their area. And you recognize, okay, these aren't savages like the original trilogy put off, that they're just going to kill whoever's around and they're, raiders. They're a community of people that live in the sand. They live in this area. And so, yeah, of course they're going to be pissed when people come through and they're messing up natural resources and fucking up their lives and shooting them because they're scary. So definitely some depth to the characters.
I do like that they showed that they do in fact have their own religion, which I thought was interesting, because, so the Jedi have how they handle the Force, and the Force is everywhere, whether you're a Jedi or Sith or no matter what. And I love that they were bringing in the sand people have their own religion on how they handle that. They've got like a head lizard, a nose lizard
Yeah.
that helps them go on this weird peyote journey through the sand.
I forgot about the peyote journey. That was
Yeah.
such a weird, fun choice.
But at the end-
that was a fun one.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's how the sand people are connecting with the Force, really. It's that same element
Yeah.
throughout the entire galaxy, no matter what you... That's just how they handle it. And I love that they showed that, yes, they are the civilization in the sands, but they are civilized enough to have their own connection. I would still call it the Force, even though...
Yeah.
I mean, I guess all I would say is, like, I do think that they fleshed out the Sand People, like, way better in this
Sure.
series, and I enjoyed that. I feel like it needed this series needed 2 more episodes to really bridge the gap, because, like, what we get is like a couple episodes where it's Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit, his background, like getting rescued, he lost his armor, he's living with the Sand People sort of situation. And then, it's kind of like going back and forth with modern day when he's trying to do stuff, in the current timeline, whatever that is. But I feel like just a little bit more time could have been spent. It was so jarring going back and forth.
Sure.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was jarring going back and forth. And then, I'm not even talking about when the entire series goes sideways
Yep.
to the other side, which I guess maybe second half talk about that. I don't even know.
At least a little further in.
It's like,
But
I don't even know.
Everybody knows that watched it that there was at least 2 episodes that were basically not the Book of Boba Fett. It was just like some
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
Mandalorian episodes thrown in for good measure.
Yeah, it was like episode 5 and 6, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think at a certain point it would behoove them to just call it Grogu and Friends.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, because we had
Instead of Super Friends, it's Force Friends.
There we
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
this back and forth sequence of like backstory versus like him trying to take over the crime empire left in the wake of Jabba the Hutt for like 4 episodes, and then suddenly it's just like, oh no, we're doing this other thing, and it does connect.
What were they actually trying to do with this series was really the challenge. If you're trying to find the story arc of a kind of the Black Widow story arc of somebody with a lot of Reddit in their ledger that's trying to make amends for their life previous to this and trying to find like a home and a tribe and trying to find some level of like peace and trying to bring like, I guess, some balance to a otherwise normally very criminal and dangerous territory. Cool story. Great. Awesome. But they threw a little bit of that in. They threw a little bit of like Dances with Wolves. They threw in a little bit of like crime boss guy.
Yeah, the
stuff.
Godfather.
The Godfather in there.
I got a lot of Godfather
Yeah,
vibes.
Yes.
for sure. And then all of a sudden, as they're trying to get all that to kind of congeal together, then it's like, yeah, fuck that. Mandalorian, remember Grogu? Like, you can see him again, too, which is great. And
Oh my god, I love Pelly's comment about like Grogu. What?
oh, yeah,
calling you
I'm not
that?
calling you that.
Yeah, I love that.
I think she might have been my favorite character this
Yes.
whole... Oh my god, her dating.
They're so
Oh, my God.
dying.
I'll tell you what, they're so furry. Too furry.
Somebody sent me a picture of, the meme that goes around. There's a little white girl sitting on a white couch, and there's a bunch of like large black men behind her. It's from a porn.
Yeah. Yep.
It was her sitting on the couch, and it was a bunch of what Jawas standing behind the couch behind her.
Oh my God, you got that?
I have that somewhere. I can send it to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
What I do love is that line that she did was improv. That
Okay.
She threw that in. That was not in the script for
The-
her to go on about
Dating one
her
once.
her little Jawa boyfriend.
Well, I can believe that because Amy Sedaris is such
So
a
funny.
talented comedian.
She's such a little weirdo. If you get a chance, it's on YouTube. I think it's Variety or something. Did a tour of her home in New York City. And it's insane. Like, it's so fucking insane. She's like, like different walls are different colors, and then like all the furniture on that wall is the same color as the wall, or like all of her books are color coded. It's like this crafty cat lady kind of vibe all over the place.
Yeah. Well, she actually has this book called I Like You.
Mhm.
And I have it on my bookshelf, but she has this thing called a fuck it bucket, which you fill with candy. And when you're feeling fuck it, you just, So I've had a fuck it bucket for a while now.
Nice.
It's because of Amy Sedaris.
Yes.
That's great.
But yeah, if you get a chance, you'll really understand her a little bit more by looking at her very weird former art teacher, cat grandma vibe type house that she's got. It's very strange.
So we need to talk about Boba Fett's right hand.
Fennec Shand.
Fennec Shand.
Yes.
Which, that's Ming-Na Wen, and she can do no wrong. Put her in everything. Give her all the roles. I love her so fucking much.
No, such a badass. But like the backstory of how he like rescued and saved her and got her saved,
Yeah.
which led into like the body mod dudes. That shit was
mods.
awesome.
Like
The mods.
look, call them mods, that's cool, but then also give them like space Vespas was a little too on the nose for me.
Yeah.
I loved that though, because it was straight up England mod kids.
Oh yeah, 100%. It looked like
Straight up.
a spacey cover of a Who record or something.
Fantastic. And I love that the main girl, she reminded me so much of Kelly Osbourne. I was like, oh my god, it's Kelly fucking
She was-
Osbourne on a Vespa.
She's on Yellow Jackets.
Which
and
is
she
incredible.
Oh, yes.
She's so
Oh,
good.
God.
I love that actress. She's been in a couple things, but Yellow Jackets specifically, if you've not had the chance to watch Yellow Jackets, that was a
Holy
out of
shit.
nowhere great fucking series.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So much fun. And she's one of my favorite characters in that series as well. She plays the young version of Juliette Lewis. And she does
Nice.
it where she has like this raspy voice and kind of mimics her mannerisms very naturally. It's pretty impressive.
I can't wait.
So yeah, I was excited to see her in this role.
Yeah.
But they all seem kind of out of place. Like they were supposed to be in a different sci-fi series that was shooting on the same lot as Star Wars. And they're like, fuck it, throw them in there. Like the space Vespas were too brightly colored. They weren't quite like beat up. And like everything else in this whole area is like made out of like dirt and sticks and beaten to death. And then there's these like bright yellow and blue and red Vespas with like shit ton of mirrors on it.
I feel like it's something that they would take pride in because they're living on Tatooine, which is all dust and sand and bullshit. And they want to be clean and cool and different and not have rags on. Like, I feel like they are the punk rock kids of that
Yeah.
fucking era.
But I'm wondering where they got the money to do all that, because supposedly they were getting like underpaid. Like Boba Fett comes in, it's like, yeah, you're going to pay these people. So I'm like, how? They must have been dirt poor. So how'd they afford all that?
By stealing all of the water from, you stole
Yeah.
my stapler. But I love it in both movies. He's like, you stole my stapler. You stole my water.
Oh my God. That's right. He was in it.
He was an Office Space.
That was Milton?
Yeah.
That was Milton.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah, you stole my stapler.
He didn't come back.
Oh, God,
He just
Stephen
had that
Root,
like
that's
one
right.
or
Stephen Root, yeah.
Yeah.
like
that
one or
was-
two episode appearances, and then
Yep.
he was gone. Yeah.
I think you saw him briefly in the 7th episode, just like in the background somewhere, like hiding or something. But it's Star Wars. So many people want to have just like a one-off cameo appearance, and
True.
Oh, and we had some great cameos on this
Oh,
one.
yeah,
Danny
absolutely.
Trejo.
Danny Trejo was
Oh
great.
my God. I fucking
My-
loved that when he showed up. I
If-
was like, but I mean, it's Robert Rodriguez. So
Yeah.
of course he was going to be in there.
If you think anybody is going to be a Rancor trainer, it's going to be Danny fucking Trejo. So
Dude, that's
that's
shit.
the most believable part of this series is Danny Trejo could train a Rancor. Yep, absolutely.
Which, when that showed up, when they name dropped the Night Sisters, fuck
Yep.
yes. Because that book, Courtship of Princess Leia, it's not canon anymore, but that whole book is about like the Rancor riders, the Night Sisters. Oh, it's a fucking great book. And I was so happy when they kind of name dropped that. I was like, fuck yes.
Well, and they've been talking about the Night Sisters being brought in because that's like
the Witches of Dathomir. Yeah.
the Witches.
that was it.
That's got what is Ventress and stuff is from the Witches, right? If I'm remembering correctly, it's been a while since I've watched any Clone Wars.
Yeah, I haven't watched much of Clone Wars, but yeah, they kind of, I guess, changed because when Disney bought it and everything, they changed everything to like non-canon was Legends
Yep.
now. So yeah, the Witches of Dathomir, they didn't have like Ventress wasn't a character
Sure.
in that book, so I think they just changed everything.
Well, that's what they've been doing is
Yeah.
that they're kind of picking out characters or story arcs from the Legends stuff and placing it wherever they want. Like I know the Thrawn trilogy is one of my favorite Legends books. But Timothy Zahn, fantastic. And Rebels pulled in Thrawn into their story, but it's like before he showed up. He showed up after the original trilogy, but in this one he shows up before it as part of the Empire. So they're just using some of those toys in a different manner. Like, but making them canon, I'm not that mad. Thrawn is still a badass.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I didn't actually like. I remember the Thrawn stuff, like from the old graphic novels and like all that kind of stuff. But like all the new animated series, like I had a issue with like the animation style, so I never really gelled with those. So I miss a lot of the references. But like apparently there's so much that everyone is like frothing over.
Well, that's what I think you see as a big difference between Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian is that you've got Dave Filoni on Mandalorian as one of the major creative contributors, and he is responsible for a lot of the Clone Wars cartoon.
Yeah.
So that's where you're getting a lot of characters from those arcs, and if anything, it made Clone Wars more approachable to me. Like, I didn't watch much of the Clone Wars cartoon until the first season of Mandalorian, and then I got to know more about Ahsoka and crew. And I will say, as though I'm not really a big fan of the original trilogy, and just put it lightly, I know you're a big surprise, or not the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. Sorry.
I was about to punch you to death.
I'm an old schooler. I like the original trilogy.
Yeah,
the prequel trilogy was just not my bag.
Right.
But the Clone Wars cartoon definitely grew on me pretty hard.
You just saved your life.
Yeah, fair.
I was about to be like,
What?
This would have been the first podcast where the showrunner got stabbed on air.
On air, yeah.
To death.
So, yeah, it was interesting to see those characters being played with in live action as well, which was great. But with Robert Rodriguez being the main showrunner, there's less of that connective tissue like The Mandalorian had. And there's definitely a little bit of the camp style that you see in like the Spy Kids movies and stuff in Book of Boba Fett, where it's a little bit more silly in its approach to stuff.
Which I love is another Danny Trejo film.
Yeah, absolutely. He's Machete in the Spy Kids movies.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
God. And that's one thing, like Robert Rodriguez talking about like the final episode, he's just so good at like explosions and this, that, and the other action. Like he's so good at it. And it was just like every, like you think, okay, like how can they get even more crazy than this? Oh, they ramped up till it was just like, what the fuck? Oh my God.
Well, it did feel like somebody in a sandbox with, or Tatooine, with a bunch of Star Wars figures and like playing it out.
Yeah.
And just like, and then you know what? Fuck it, Rancor. Like just throw it in.
And now
we are going to get into that shit.
Yeah.
And now the Rancor is King Kong on the side of a building.
Oh my God. That would, that's, I think, what I did take issue with a little bit with this series is those moments where you could have gone right up to and not just fully leaned in as hard as he went.
I love
the King Kong moment. It's like, he could have climbed the building and I would have gotten the reference. It would have been fine. But then fully like the pose and roared and everything. And
I disagree. It was awesome.
There were so many of those moments. That, like even when Mando he's already gone through TSA and he's flying past with his brand new ship past the thing and the little kid's in there. That was a straight up Superman moment when he's going by and the little kid is in the airplane window seeing Superman go right by. Come on. There were so many.
I love that they gave like the exposed engine of the ship to Mando, like it's like a souped up hot rod, and even made it sound like it. That was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. And it was a freaking like episode 1 bullshit reference.
Yeah, they pulled like the only thing from the original trilogy I liked was the craft. So I loved the pod racers and I loved those the star. What do they call them? Star pots.
I forget,
but yeah.
But it was a Naboo fucking like
it was a
starfighter.
Naboo something.
Yeah.
Naboo starfighter, and they made it into a hot rod. It was fucking awesome.
And what I did love is they were like, he was asking her, it was like, oh, you got it out where, the droid is supposed to go. She was like, oh yeah, I know how you feel about droids. The second I heard that, I was like, that's gonna be Grogu's. Of course that's gonna be Grogu's.
Of course, it's got a Grogu's head-sized bubble on it. Like, what do you think's going in there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, it's And the first thing I thought when this whole situation happened is like, well, he had his last ship was something he could like sleep and live in.
Yeah.
And he is going to be in a new ship that is literally a cockpit. Nah.
That was a bit much like, you're a bounty hunter, bro. Like, where are you putting your bounties? You hunt them and then you just leave them? Like, are you doing like fishing where you like catch and release? Is that what we're doing now instead?
Well, I don't know. I feel like they're setting up because that episode that was The Mandalorian season 3 in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not going to be so much focusing on bounty hunting, but because he has to redeem himself after the armorer was like, no, you took your helmet off. Bye, bitch. So, yeah, he's got to go redeem himself to be a true Mandalorian.
Which they did allude to there being a possibility of that he's got to like sit in the swamps of something or
the waters of life, I think
something like that. Which
I think we need to collect our thoughts. Well, I got lots of stuff to say about the end of the series.
Yep. So, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to go over our sponsors, what we're drinking, and get back into Book of Boba Fett Season 1. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm FU Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're going to fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
embrace the madness.
In a world of blockbuster movies, there's another dimension.
The dimension of schlock cinema. Join us at Beautiful Disasters on a journey into the fringe territory of B-movie abandon.
We review the flicks that are forgotten or underappreciated to give them a proper place in the annals of celluloid history.
I'm the Grutz.
FU Hunter.
Your guides at Beautiful Disasters. Come along with us for a fun ride. May the schlock be with you.
Hey guys, Scotty P here with Smash
on your left.
And we are the Geek Fathers. That's right, bringing all the trials and tribulations of being a geeky parent.
So welcome to our world.
And as always, join us
or cry.
My name is Amy Bogard.
And I'm Mike the Hobbit.
And we are the hosts of Deeply Upsetting, where we use our expertise to answer your most upsetting hypothetical quandaries, such as, what non-winged animal deserves wings?
And what body part deserves a secret mouth?
Which cryptid is the worst roommate?
These questions and more that plague you will be answered on Deeply Upsetting, available anywhere you get your podcasts and at GUIPodcast.com. We're back for Geeks Under the Influence, all things Book of Boba Fett. But before we get into that, we have to talk about our sponsors a little bit. First off, of course, is Amazon.com. With the craziness in the world right now, it's so much easier to just go to Amazon.com and get your wares for your house or any kind of like media needs to spend your time, whether it be getting some Star Wars materials, whether it be action figures or movies, or catching up on the Clone Wars. So like we said on the first half, you can get a better understanding of Ahsoka and company and some of the characters that are being played with these Disney Plus shows. All of that's available at Amazon.com. And the best way to shop is to go through our link at GUIPodcast.com. That way we get credit for everything that you purchase. So you're spending the same amount of money. We're getting a little bit of credit for it, which goes towards equipment, storage fees, all the stuff that comes along with running a podcast. So if you want to help out Geeks Under the Influence, then the best way is Amazon.com and buy your shit. You want to buy toilet paper and some, a new blender or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're purchasing. We get credit for it. So
basically, support Amazon and take a little bit of money away from Jeff Bezos.
Exactly. If you have to use Amazon, it's a necessary evil for some folks. Then just know feel a little bit better about it by making sure some of that money's going to us instead of him. Because fuck that guy, he doesn't need another dick rocket. But we need equipment from time to time. So
we need dick rockets.
Hey, you know what? If our listeners finance a dick rocket for us, I'm not going to say no.
Well,
all right.
Is Jeff Bezos the Palpatine of this world?
Yes, definitely. Him and Elon Musk they're definitely they're Sith Lords for sure.
Yes. Well, I love. Have you seen? There's the photo out of him back when like Amazon started. He definitely looked like a Buffy villain. Have you seen this?
Oh, I have seen it. Yeah, and he does 100%. Yeah, and now he's fully morphed into like a Lex Luthor type.
Yep.
In his later
What about the
years.
Virgin Records guy? Is like he's all right?
No, I mean, he's not alright. He's still like a greedy billionaire, but he's like the least worrisome of the gaggle of billionaires. He's just like,
He's on, like, the
flying around on his
third tier.
private jets and just like partying and
He's
having
still
a good
going
time.
to
Like,
space, but he's not like trying to end the world.
yeah, he's not trying to put in Neuralink like chips into our brains and shit.
fuck.
Yeah. Amazon.com. Great. That was a great plug. Thanks.
Gonna be a
Thanks,
sponsor for a long time.
For hopefully for not much longer. Next up is the sponsor that we actually do like, which is TeePublic. TeePublic. There were some challenges during the pandemic of the quality kind of going down a little bit. They had to outsource a little bit. That is long gone. I've been getting some new designs in from TeePublic, and the quality is back to that like good quality level again. So if you were concerned about that at any point, that is done and taken care of. Good quality merch for decent prices at TeePublic. Go to GUIPodcast.com/store for the link. And we've got close to 40 designs available on our website. We just took off the holiday designs for Christmas and Halloween. So those are gone until next season, but there's still plenty more to choose from. I've got a couple designs I'm working on right now for we're doing a Bezos Musk Wayland Yutani logo that we're going to put together.
Yes.
That's going to be pretty rad. There's Grutz, you've got some designs that I still need to get up on the site. Anyway, so we're going to have some beautiful disastrous designs available on the site very soon. Definitely by the time this episode drops, there will be some new designs on the site.
And the design should be searchable for anyone.
Yes, I'm working on a better searchability as well on that. But TeePublic, it's really fun designs from all the different shows, all the different. We're going to have the new logo for Smack My Pet Shop with Tondi and me on the cover. That's going to be available on the site as well.
If that's available before mine, I'm going to beat you.
With the terrifying mullet.
The me with a mullet. Yeah, if you ever wanted a picture of me with a mullet on your chest, then you have the opportunity now. So check that out. GUIPodcast.com/store. Or click on the store link on the homepage. It'll send you there as well. So TeePublic, woo! And of course, there's not just shirts. There's mugs and travel mugs and baby onesies and stickers and buttons and all sorts of stuff. So yay. And on to the thing that really fuels this fire, the thing that gets us going on this show.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about what we're drinking.
Hey, we're fucking drinking. We're getting drunk. You want to know? Well, here you go. Hey,
we're drinking. We're getting drunk.
Yay.
Kyle.
That was Kyle.
I love it. It's his birthday today, isn't it?
Is it his birthday today?
It was like yesterday.
Is it
Oh, okay. Yes, yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Just had one.
Just happened. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
He's 54.
Yeah, he's a 54-year-old man.
I have no idea.
No,
how old
he's
is
he's like late 30s, I think.
Oh, no, it's today. It's February 16th.
Okay, cool. Well, we're recording this in his honor then today.
Lovely.
Yay, Kyle. So the one share that I had, that we don't have like a thematic one in that it's named something that's thematically appropriate, but it being Tatooine and hot and deserty, something that would be refreshing to drink on the sand dunes of Tatooine, which I went with the Stone Brewing Company, so East Coast local, technically. They have a brewery in Richmond. The Buena Veza Salt and Lime Lager, 4.7%. It's a lager with salt and lime added, so it's got that kind of Mexican lager style thing going for it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, like it's kind of the aftertaste after you do the lime, salt, and tequila shot.
Nice.
I'm getting that aftertaste.
Yeah, the salt and the lime definitely shows up on the finish, which is not a bad thing. I could stand to have it have a touch more lime personally, but I really love lime when I'm adding lime to beer. I like it to be very present.
Yeah, it tastes like that aftertaste.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It has a little more malt to it than a traditional Mexican lager would have that you're adding salt and lime to, but not in an unpleasant way. That's definitely on a warmer day going to be decent. Like you're going to be able to session that pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stone Buena Veza Salt and Lime Lager. If you're watching a bunch of people in like heavy blankets and cloaks walking around in the desert on foot,
right?
you're gonna feel tired for them. So enjoy something light and refreshing while watching Book of Boba Fett.
Nice.
Yeah. And Grutz, you got some tasty beverage here for us.
I did
as well.
bring a bourbon. And if anybody is not into it, that's fine. But the fact that this show really took its entire show is kind of a Western, especially the second half.
Oh yeah.
The second half of this show is such
having
a
challenge with the
Western.
bourbon.
By the way, there is nobody needs to drink this. It is not required.
Like a little sip, like a taste.
I feel like I have to get in the right mental space for this.
Have a sip if you like. Nothing is required here.
No,
no. I brought a whiskey because the second half of the show felt so much like a goddamn Western. It just felt right.
Definitely.
I kept thinking I was going to hear any moment like, wah, wah, wah.
Right?
No.
Doo-doo-doo.
No. I'm going to wax poetic about how this show ended. Especially the last episode is a complete Western extravaganza. But yeah, this is Buffalo Trace. It's a very decent bourbon for the money. It's a good drinking whiskey. Can't lie. But enjoy if you like.
It's a tasty beverage.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, well, I feel kind of bad. Y'all went thematic. I went to whatever was available at the corner store on my walk over here.
Right.
Because there's a little grocery and deli about a block away from Bickett's house. But I've got Paulaner Hefeweizen. I went German AF today.
Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
All right, so we were talking about the Western elements that come on the later portion.
Oh wait, no, you skipped over her drinking.
Oh, what are you sipping on?
It's just a White Claw and chase it with Dr. Pepper.
With White Claw, I mean, technically the Rancor did have some White Claws, so
Yeah,
I mean,
there we go.
Boom.
Let's force that one in there. Yeah.
There we go.
There is no shade to anything that we are imbibing on this podcast.
No, not at all.
Come on now.
No, ultimately, even with our suggestions, drink what makes you feel good and what you enjoy when you're enjoying this content, you know?
Truth.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
Even when it's not East Coast local.
Even when it's not East Coast local, yeah.
That's right.
But the character that we were talking about, Timothy Oliphant's character is Cobb Vanth, is the name of the character.
Yeah.
And that is from the newer books that have been coming out. And it's a great character. It's one of the more popular characters from the new books. And he did a fantastic job. I mean, him being in a Western is kind of a no-brainer Western element thing. So,
well, obviously. I mean, he did Deadwood and he did Justified. And I have to say, I might have mentioned this. We did a Mandalorian episode prior. Yeah?
Yeah, we've done 2 now, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I had to have mentioned the fact that, when he came on screen in the second season, his walk, I knew it was him.
Yep.
In a second. Even just the way he walked before he took any fucking helmet off, any of that shit. And I was so happy to see him in this season. Holy shit.
Well, we were talking earlier about the Boba Fett outfit not fitting Tamara Morrison quite as well as it did 20 years ago, which that's not shitting on him. He's gotten older and thicker. You thicken out as you get older.
Thick
that's
with
part of the
2
deal.
C's.
Where it looks more like, a Little League umpire kind of strap-on situation than previously. But Timothy Oliphant wearing the Boba armor in with season 2, that gangly motherfucker in the Boba gear was fucking... He looked like a bobblehead, but the bobblehead was just a regular-sized head.
But he was cool in it.
No, he was... Well, I don't know.
He moved cool.
I didn't realize how much neck that guy has. He has so much neck.
No, he just has swagger. He has Western, gunslinger swagger.
Oh, yeah. His whole interaction when he walked up on those, was it 3 or 4 Peck people?
The Pikes.
Pikes.
Oh, the Pikes, yeah.
Not Pecks, sorry.
Pecks are little people from Willow.
Okay, shush. But just the swagger of that whole interaction was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
It's think about it. Oh, you're the smart one. All right. That whole interaction was I know what you're doing. I'm going to pretend like I don't know what you're doing. I'm going to give you an opportunity to back the fuck up. y'all are idiots. I'm going to leave one of you alive to
Yep.
tell the rest of y'all to stop being idiots. I loved it.
The number of I shot the sheriff and I shot the deputy jokes that came out after that episode was like the first person that did it, fair enough, had to be said. I respect it. Good enough. But the like 30,000 other people that made that joke after the first person, it's like, no, we know.
And I love too the whole not montage, the whole, way that they framed all of the cameraing where he just tips over all of the spice drug is fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That was because I didn't know what he was gonna do with that. I was like, is he gonna sell it himself to help his town? I know, but the fact that he tipped it over, I was like, that's a solid dude.
Mhm.
Right
Spice must flow.
The spice must flow.
Spice must flow.
What I have explained to people is like spice being like the drug of the Star Wars universe. That is absolutely related to the spice from Dune. Like that was, there was a lot of stuff ripped from Dune
big time.
in Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just gotta say, like that sequence alone, where he's just facing off against all those guys, it's so iconic. It's so iconic, and that's one of the first parts of the series where it was a departure from the Boba backstory versus like what he's doing in the current timeline. We had a different character that we already knew from Mandalorian, and it was so good to see him, but he's doing this standoff situation with like, there's 4 guys and it's a standoff, and oh my God, I fucking lost my goddamn mind.
Hell yeah.
Did you catch his sharpshooter action, by the way? So he killed 3 guys, and if you go back and watch it, he only made 2 shots.
Oh shit.
Go back and watch it. The 2 guys on the left, he shot through one and killed the guy behind him.
God damn it.
Oh,
fuck.
I'm seriously,
rad.
go back and watch that one thing. He kills 3 guys with 2 shots.
Oh, I will.
And he could have, so he killed the 2 on the left. On the right, the one guy had not made a move for a weapon. There is an opportunity, like I've gone back and watched it like 8 times.
Oh my God.
There is an opportunity. He had the timing to do through 2 guys on the left, through both guys on the right. He waited until the one that had reached for a gun was out of the way and shot that one. The one that didn't reach for anything, he left that one alive. Go back and watch it.
That is such an old school fucking like gunslinger,
Go back. It's so good.
I'm just
my
thinking
God,
with
that's
their
a trope.
Gunslingers being such an element in this story, if they do a season 2 of Boba Fett, I would love for them to do like a Magnificent Seven kind of thing where like begrudgingly Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane team up with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, and they like team up to like protect like a like even maybe Cobb Vanth's town from stuff, and they begrudgingly do it. Like they're not friends, they don't get along, they'll kill each other afterwards if they have the chance, kind of deal. And that would be so fucking rad.
Yeah, but don't include that fucking deputy, because that fucking deputy's an idiot.
Oh, fuck that guy.
He's
no.
gone.
Yeah. He did.
He is super dead.
There's
deserved
only one tank, and that's for Cobb Vanth. So,
Well, because, I don't think Cad Bane is dead. Like, there is no way they would bring in Cad fucking Bane. I keep saying
if
Cad
you notice
fucking
when he's
Bane,
laying
but
when he's laying in the dirt, shot, there's a blinking light on his chest that suggests that there's some other stuff going on.
Yeah, because I don't think they would bring him in
Not
and
Cad
then just
Bane.
like throw him away like that. Like, no,
Yeah.
they would not. I don't think he's dead.
And can we also say, out of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane had the fucking best intro. Just that fucking walk in through
walking into town.
Because like once you saw that silhouette, you're just like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
It couldn't be anybody else.
And it's also like, this is as quintessential like spaghetti western as we can fucking get.
And this is why I was so excited to be on this episode, because that motherfucker is Lee Van Cleef from every goddamn fucking spaghetti western
Bright Eyes or
ever.
whatever.
Angel Eyes
Angel
from
Eyes,
Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Exactly. Yes. For a few dollars more, like, oh my God. Like Lee Van Cleef, he is that guy.
And he was actually like legitimately 100%, I mean, clearly modeled after him.
Oh,
like,
no, they've admitted
They admitted it, yeah.
They've admitted, they were like, that's why we made his eyes the way we did, is because it was after Angel
Are you
Eyes.
serious?
Yeah, they've admitted that, yeah.
Fuck, dude. No, exactly. Like, he was so spot on. And the way he moved and the way he walked up and the way he spoke so like beautifully, like I'll admit, I did not watch the fucking animated series.
Mhm.
I didn't like the animation, and that killed it for me. So I didn't follow it. But I know he was super important to this to this timeline or
Yeah,
whatever.
he teams up with like a young Boba a lot in the series.
Right, they have history, and I didn't know the history. But like him coming on screen, I was just like, well, this guy's serious. And you knew he was serious the way he carried himself, the way he walked, the way he spoke. It was amazing.
I loved that one of his first intro lines were, because here's a dude that has 2 gigantic eyeballs and a pointy teeth mouth and very obviously no nose. And one of his first lines is, "You need to keep your nose out of our business." I thought was great.
This series definitely had a lot more of those like cheeky lines than The Mandalorian. And I'm not, the amount of fucking dad jokes I've told in my time, I can't like begrudge a series some wordplay here and there for sure.
Right. All right. We had a bunch of initial stuff where Boba was having like flashbacks to his situation surviving the Sarlacc and getting in with the sand people.
Well, and he does go back to the Sarlacc pit to try to find his helmet and stuff.
His armor.
Yeah.
Which was
in
gone.
the flashback, but then he does end up getting like his ship sucked into the Sarlacc pit that's not completely dead, which
Right.
was pretty cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
But at this point, he had his girl, right? He had Fennec, right?
Fennec, yep.
And she was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm gonna shoot it," and got him out of that.
An atomic bomb.
Oh no, that was the same. It was the same. I don't want to call it sonar. That's not it. But it was the same type of drop that his father did. I don't know if you remember back. Django did the little drop when they were flying through the asteroid field.
Oh.
Do you all remember this?
Yeah. No, and they
it's
did
the
that.
exact same seismic sound thingy
Yes.
that is dropped out, that Django drops out.
I want to say like they did that also like earlier in the Mandalorian series, where they like crushed some TIE fighters with it too. I don't know. Anyway, he got out of that, but we really came into the forefront when he was in the middle of like getting into his like crime syndicate
crime
sort of
let's get into crime
intentions. His crime intentions, right?
Yeah. Crime intentions, yeah.
Crime intentions.
Can we sidestep real quick? How creepy were the twins? Because they're twins, but they're curled up on each other like.
Are you talking the pig twins?
The Huts.
The Huts.
Oh, the Huts.
Yeah.
Okay, the Hut twins. Yeah.
The replacement
Oh,
Huts,
yeah,
the
yeah.
cousins of Jabba.
Yeah, they were gross.
And I felt, oh my God, I felt so bad. I did love from an artistic standpoint when they're, walking them in on the big paladin, that you can see this huge metal platform that they're on is completely visibly sagging beneath the weight of the two of them. And it's got 18 guys beneath it trying to carry.
Ugh.
And you see them having the discussion when you've got Danny Trejo coming up with the Rancor, and you can, if you go back and watch it, all of the people holding it, like you see their faces get steadily worse and worse and worse, trying to hold these two asshole slugs.
Yeah, because I think, again, this was going back to the Clone Wars, because I think, the Hutts don't have as much influence anymore, because, the Darth Vader came in, something with, the Council of Hutts, and just wiped them out.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have as much power, but, yeah, it was interesting that kind of, where you see, they're just, I think, international playboys, something like that at that point. But the respect of, they're carried on a litter, and then Boba's just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. He's walking through the city on foot. And I think a lot of the people at the end are like, oh, thank you, Boba. Ah. So, yeah, I think that's such an interesting dynamic there between the Hutts, they're just like, we're carried on litters and we're,
How cute was the Rancor
scene?
Oh, so cute.
Where with Danny Trejo as the guy, and I so wanted him to come back in the final episode.
Well, there's plenty. I mean, he's not dead or anything.
Yeah, he's not dead.
No, I know, but he was the guy, and in Return of the Jedi when the Rancor passed, the Rancor handler was
Bawling.
super sad.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Where's Dan Trejo?"
And I always felt really bad.
Happening.
I always felt really bad for the Rancor, even though, it was the bad monster. Even as a kid, I felt it was like, oh, he's just an animal, and he just got spike-headed by a gate in the skull, and the guy obviously loved him. I love that they backed it up as why, and they gave backstory to that for why that happens.
Yep. And with the Rancor, I did have trouble trying to figure out why they would gift Boba such a valuable and useful item as a Rancor. Boba's trying to build up his cred. And so having a Rancor is a big plus in his side.
Yeah.
So why would they help him? But I think that comes to what Audrey was saying, is that the Pike Syndicate is coming in, and the Fets know that they're coming in, and they don't have as much credit as they used to. They have a name, and people respect the Hutt name, and the common man in town may not know that they don't have nearly as much to back them up as they used to. So they have a little bit of sway in that town until a real syndicate comes in with real backup and real soldiers. And at that point, they're like, okay, fucking peace. But you know what? Fuck it. Let's give the bounty hunter guy a Rancor. Let's see what he does with the Pike Syndicate with a Rancor, just like to fuck with the Syndicate. And then their hands are not dirty.
Giggles.
Yeah, their hands aren't dirty. Boba Fett can fuck him up with a Rancor, do some shit, and the Hutts aren't responsible for anything that happens. So that made more sense as the series went along.
Yeah.
But even more than that, I don't say they gifted them, but they had no contest against. He basically got a brand new Wookiee too, a gladiator Wookiee.
Yeah.
Which was and can we talk about how amazing he was as a character?
Was it Black Kassan or something?
Yeah. Black Cart.
Kersantan Santo.
He showed up in the first issue of the Darth Vader comic.
So good.
Which I have, and has gone much further up in value since his appearance on Book of Boba Fett. So, yay.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think there is a backstory between him and Boba Fett that I think is in some comic
they've
or
worked
whatever.
together before.
So they've been so I love their team up at the end. And oh my God, when he I guess when all the people turned on him, like all the crime boss families, they were just, and so they kind of all got on top of him. I was like, no. And then at the end, you see him run up, and you're like, fuck yes, he made it out. He
barely.
Barely.
And Fett not even worrying about him being useful in the fight so much. It's no, get behind here. You're good. You're one of ours. So
I feel a little bit bad though. Everybody from his little team up that he got. So he's got the team of the mods. Now he's got Gladiator Wookiee helping him. The two little piggies got pushed off the cliff like lemmings.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
That species in Star Wars has always grossed me out so fucking hard. I don't like them. And when they showed up, I'm like, oh, gross pig people, cool.
But they were loyal.
No, but the thing is, by the time they died, I had warmed up to them, and I was like, no, not the pig guys.
They fell down
They went lemming. Yep.
They look like weird warrior creatures, but I mean, they're always the ones that end up getting eaten by the Rancor or are cannon fodder.
That's true.
They're the red shirts.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yep.
All right, so we need to sort of left turn like the series did and go into the fact that this series went from Boba Fett to
Grogu,
the Mandalorian, and Grogu.
Yeah, for sure.
And I cannot express enough how excited I was when we started out an episode. This might have been 4 or 5, whatever episode it was.
5.
It's
yeah. I texted you about episode 5 when I watched it. I was so excited.
There's a bunch of dog dudes that are in a freaking meat packing plant, and they're doing their nefarious shit, and a freaking Mandalorian armored dude walks behind
the silhouette behind the
silhouette.
And
I was just like, oh, that could be.
Well, because you could see the
it could be
shadow
Boba.
of his spear.
The spear was there, and I was just like, oh shit. And we had one of the most amazing fight sequences right there. And the freaking dark blade came out, and I fucking lost my goddamn shit right there and then.
I loved that they filmed that the dark lightsaber has actual weight to it.
Oh yeah.
Because that's not something that lightsabers obviously have, and the dark saber has so much mysticism around it because there's so much different about it. It's actually a thin blade. When you watch it, and at a certain point when they turn it, the blackness dissipates because it's a thin blade, but it's wide, and that's not something that you're gonna get with your lightsabers that are basically tubular, to not sound Californian.
Tubular
sabers, dudes. But the whole legend behind the Darksaber, I love that they fleshed that out more, because in Clone Wars and all the other ones, when they talk about it, they, it's gifted to and I can't think of the Mandalorian. I'm gonna call her the Mandalorian princess because I can't think of her name.
Oh, Bo-Katan.
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 Instead of winning it in combat,
Sabine won it in combat, and then
she gifted
it to Bo-Katan, and then somehow in the lore, whatever that we haven't seen so much, is how the Imperials end up with it, because I think
she doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, because Carlos Esposito, is that his name? Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Juan Carlos Esposito, I think.
Yes. Is he Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. So somehow he ended up with it, and then that's how it got to Din Djarin. So then he was going to give it to Bo-Katan, and she was like,
But I love, so that showing it with the weight, and then you see later on, he's doing it with the Vizsla. So he's with the armorer and the Vizsla down in the basement underneath the big ring.
Right. So
station.
This is a point in the series where it took a super left turn, and it's no longer about Boba Fett at all.
Yeah.
And it's this is that episode where now it is all about Mando. And he did this job. He fucking killed it. And now he's on this space platform.
Well, he injured the fuck out of himself with the dark side. That's why I love when he's in front of, the person that hired him, he acts, as soon as he's out of their sight and he gets in that elevator, he's like, oh, I'm in pain.
I appreciate the fact that, like...
And that's the longest continuous shot, by the way. That's 3 minutes of uncut footage where they followed. Did you notice that?
It was amazing. But I appreciated the fact that, like, he didn't know how to use this weapon that he had just got. And he wounded himself with it. And now he's fucked up. And he's like, God damn it. And
that was kind of cool, yeah.
And he had to figure out how to get into the underground of whatever space station he was at, or whatever, port he was at. But he found the Mandalorian, like,
hideout, basically.
Hideout area. And he went down there. And that's what happened,
And I'm curious at that point where they ask the question, or the armorer asked the questions about, like, have you taken off your helmet and stuff. There seemed to be almost like when the Darksaber came out, kind of like a, kind of vibe to it, because that means so much in the world of the Mandalorians, and there's such a splinter between them and the takeoff helmet sect as well, that who controls the Darksaber really has a lot of leeway as to the direction that the Mandalorians are taking.
Well, I think part of it too, when he was walking into it, I think part of the armorer maybe knew that he had taken his helmet off. I think she got that vibe, but she didn't bring it up because she had assumed, because Vizsla is the family that had created, Vizsla was the family that was both Mandalorian and Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one that actually had created the Darksaber to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the new Vizsla, and I don't know his first name, but it was the ancestor of the Vizsla line, was actually, I believe, Favreau voiced.
Really?
This Vizsla.
No shit.
Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone listening to this, if you want to comment later, but I do believe Favreau was the voice behind the big bulky Mandalorian that was fighting against Mando, trying to get dibs on the Darksaber because he thought it was his birthright. Family birthright. I believe she probably assumed that Vizsla was going to win. And when Vizsla didn't win, her back was like, oh, well, have you taken your helmet off? Have you taken your helmet off? Okay, we're done. Because in her mindset, she's still from the generation that sees that Darksaber probably as not a good thing and something to be avoided, and blames the death of her planet on that fucking Darksaber, or at least the lore around the dark lightsaber.
Sure.
Doesn't want anyone probably to have it.
Well, I'm intrigued that they are setting it up that Mandalorian is definitely going to be the series that's used to dig into the Mandalorian history and backstory and like that whole thing. Whereas Boba Fett is like this outside kind of perspective of somebody that's been out of the Mandalorian game for so long that it isn't really about their history. And
Yeah, because I would love to learn, because, of course, there's legends and canon now. So it's just, the Mandalorians have such a rich history. It's just super interesting. And I'd love for them to kind of like talk a little bit more about it, because they've kind of like dropped hints here and there. But I think kind of going over like just more of the backstory of the Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
I really had like that particular episode where the fact that he took off his helmet once was the thing that broke his entire
twice
elite,
Well,
or twice.
Three times, actually.
Once in front of, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no.
3 times total, but 2 times in front of a living person.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, like, she asked him, have you ever removed your helmet? He said yes. And that was the thing that broke the vow or whatever. It was the way. It was so hardcore. It was like some like straight up like super like Hasidic Jew, or like super like hardcore like
You ate pork. You shouldn't have eaten pork.
Right. Yeah. Some like, like
actually it goes into modern news of just how arbitrary that is and how it fucks up an entire religion. Is this came out like the other day that there was a priest that when baptizing kids was using we instead of I when baptizing kids, and technically you're supposed to say I because you are the vehicle for God to baptize the kids. So when you say we, it's about the community that doesn't have that power to give the baptismal rights to the kid. So all of the baptisms that priest has done, all of the marriages that he's done, all of the communions, are all invalid. So there's bastard kids in the eyes of the church, people that are not married in the eyes of the church that have been fucking for 30 years. There's all these kids that have not been baptized. If people were not baptized and died at some point, unfortunately, but in the views of that church, they have gone to hell because they are unbaptized children. Like, it takes into account so much of the weirdness of that religion that something that simple can condemn all these people to hell because he misspoke. And also, it goes back that I think he also, when he was baptized, the priest, we was used as well, which means that he wasn't actually a priest the whole time. Anyway.
How much death and destruction and crime has Google Translate been, responsible for?
Yeah,
like holy fuck.
Well, yeah, and maybe they'll talk about this at some point, but the
Pert.
that the Mandalorians have been pretty much decimated. So you would think they would be like, maybe we.
Well,
can
they're
give it a
straight
little
up.
You're
sway.
cool. Yeah,
They're straight up Time Lord Gallifrey right now.
Can we talk about the very brief scene where it showed the decimation of Mandalore?
Oh, that was haunted.
Yeah.
That was
Slash-
crazy.
That looked like straight up Gallifrey to me.
Yeah.
Come on. That looked like the destruction of Gallifrey. But my big thing was, all right, so we've already established that, so Vizsla created the blade. He was not able to get the blade away from Boba. Mando still got it. The whole lore around it is that some Mandalorian is going to be able to wield it and bring the Mandalorians back together. Mando is technically a foundling.
Mm-hmm.
Grogu is technically a foundling.
Mm-hmm.
He turned down Yoda's lightsaber, which, by the way, that cliffhanger messed with me so bad.
Jesus Christ. This is how much happens in this fucking 7 episodes.
Oh, yeah, we're not even touching on it.
Talked about the fact that fucking, goddamn Luke Skywalker shows up.
Oh, and that graphics that they did for Luke Skywalker was fantastic.
Was better.
But
Definitely
so
better.
much better. So much better.
Yeah, because I think they actually hired a guy, because after that, the last season of Mandalorian, they hired a guy he was just like, I'm going to do it better, a better deep fake.
Yo, I saw that on YouTube.
It was a fan that did it.
Yeah,
just some random dude.
You are absolutely correct. They did hire that deepfake guy, and he is now on the crew, and he is doing work.
And Disney bucks now.
And you'll notice, even when they go back, so Mark Hamill helped with the voice. They intentionally told him to keep him very zen and very calm. That way we don't have to do much with the bottom lip and stuff to make it that. Like, if you go back and watch it again, he is the most zen I've ever seen Skywalker ever. And the reason that he is because they had to make it as realistic as possible. Most of his dialogue, where he does a lot of his dialogue, it's the side of his face or the back of his head. The only time you see the front of his face is very simple sentences where he's repeating himself a lot.
And then I guess that episode where I think I liked that they showed like the beginnings of his new Jedi temple, but
with the ants.
Yeah, with the ants. Oh my gosh. And then when R2-D2 showed up, I was like, oh, yay. But I think there was something I was like watching earlier is just the interesting part that failure of the new Jedi kind of, you kind of see how Luke is going by like the old Jedi way, and he just hasn't learned his lesson. But he was also a guy who just kind of had to learn on the job.
Yeah.
Like, he was a Jedi for like,
he never got
2
proper
weeks?
training.
Yeah, he was never properly trained.
I've been at that job where
And
they're like, you get like 2 hours of training. They're like, good luck. And you're like, but I don't fucking know my login. Like, how do you?
Yeah. And that's, I think, because he was learning on the job, but it's just that black and white thinking always with a Jedi is like, you have to either choose him or choose a lightsaber. It's one or the other. So it's just always that. And that's where the Jedi kind of failed.
Yeah.
I think. And it's just, and it was interesting to me to kind of see like where he was building the new Jedi temple, because like the new ones that came out, they started in the middle of the story. So it was just the new ones that came out.
Oh, the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, because they just kind of came in the middle of the story.
Yep. And so, this fills that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So my thing, though, when he does the whole bit with little Grogu, you can get this, by the way, the cutest little thing of chainmail
that
Oh my god,
ever
his
seen it.
Beskar mithril armor.
Oh
my god, cutest freaking
my
thing
God.
ever. But so between that and getting, by the way, cutest freaking lightsaber ever, little Yoda's little baby lightsaber. But here's my thing, though, is like, so you can continue now, or you can leave without continuing your training and go help your friends. That's exactly what Luke did.
Yeah.
Exactly what Luke. So part of my thing is like Luke had to have known. He made the exact choice that Grogu made. Like, I don't think that when he made that option for Grogu that he actually expected Grogu to keep the...
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and also because of where he is as far as leading the Jedi at this point, and Luke never technically, like, he kind of he
made himself
a
master.
master, kind of. I mean, Yoda's like, I mean, your teaching's done kind of, but there was no council. There was no way to, like, do that.
Right.
That the rules are a little looser, even though he is going by the old way. So there's a chance that he still has that opportunity. But one thing when I saw the mithril, like, Beskar armor is I just pictured Ren Fair nerds around the world going, as they look at their stuffed Grogu, and they're like, I have a plan now for the next Ren Fair.
There was so much Ren Fair stuff in this, by the way. Okay, so I love in The Mandalorian the music that they made for it, the flute thing going on. The music for Book of Boba is straight up Ren Fair.
Oh yeah.
Did you like? There are so many. This Book of Boba is Western and Ren Fair.
The weird kind of slightly off tune, like Glee Club Gregorian chant shit that they were doing was not my favorite.
Yeah.
The whole and they seemed like out of sync.
They used it sparingly though. They used it when Boba got wreath sheathed in his Tusken Raider outfit.
Sure.
That was totally old school, freaking like Ennio Morricone, like,
but bad.
I mean,
like that was not my favorite.
You're talking about like old school, like fucking spaghetti westerns, and a lot of those like things were like ridiculous.
Oh, the spaghetti westerns, like the lyrics to those are ha.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Just weird affectations. Whoa. There you go. That's the lyric. We are getting to the end of the episode. And granted, we could talk about this for another hour.
We got to talk about finale.
We do have to talk about finale, but quickly because we're right at the end here.
For real.
But fuck, I mean, Rancor. Boba riding a Rancor. I mean, fuck.
Boba riding a fucking Rancor.
The only thing I didn't get about that, though, with the whole Danny Trejo thing is he said it took years and years for them to be able to get to that point where you could ride a Rancor, and we're just supposed to accept that Boba got it, one, in the first shot and in a rush?
Yeah.
I do feel that's one of the things that was rushed. I felt like when we had the scene where, Boba left, and then there was like a stomp, and you saw a little ridge, and I was like, oh shit.
Godzilla. Yes.
I knew exactly that was going to be Rancor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought it was going to be goddamn Danny Trejo riding that motherfucker on the command.
That would have been cool.
But it wasn't. But we also have to talk about
Danny
what
had
happened.
to get back to his tacos.
What
I was
happened?
gonna say, can you imagine Danny Trejo on the Rancor with a fucking machete?
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
You just glue a couple things on it to make it a space machete and call it a day. And yeah, absolutely.
God damn it.
Perfect.
So 2 things. Right before that happened, there was the most amazing fucking Butch Sundance and Cassidy fucking like standoff situation where it was the 2 of them. It was Boba and Mando fucking going to town on everyone.
Fuck yes. And you see the knee rockets again.
Yes.
You see the fucking knee rockets
Oh my
again.
god, that pose, by the way, that he did. So
Yeah.
he's shooting with one hand and he's got his knee raised.
Oh,
You go
fuck
back and
yeah.
watch
That
it.
was like, and it
The
was also,
iconic Boba pose.
It was so good.
well, it was crazy because earlier in the series when the assassins came and attacked like him and Fennec Shand, where was his jetpack? But then in this scene where they come out and he remembered, my backpack's got jets. I'm Boba. The
Oh
Fett.
yeah, and they're fucking flying around
You did
like
it. You got it in there.
I finally got it in there somehow.
they're flying around like goddamn like masters, like just like
Yeah, just-
wrecking motherfuckers.
Boom.
Well, it's because it's actually I think it's a little bit earlier. This is prior. The mayor's little right hand little weasel comes out on one bit and he was like, and their terms are nothing. I was like,
Nothing.
that's fucking Godfather. Right?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
oh, yeah.
and their
Straight up.
terms are nothing. And then
that guy
out of
was
nowhere,
hilarious.
Oh, he was
by the
great.
way.
the 2 of them come out with their jetpacks. I was like, fuck.
Boom.
Because
Fucking shit up.
that was my thing when they were inside and Boba was like, all right, let me give me the tablet. I'll write down my terms. And then like Mando's like looking back and forth like, are you fucking
Oh,
serious? You're
I knew
actually
even
fucking
at that
doing
moment
this?
it was going to be something.
And I was
Oh,
like, is he really gonna? Please don't tell me he's gonna lose that credibility. Please. But I'm just sitting there like, oh, Mando, are you losing faith in Boba? that was so.
This was a perfectly constructed finale.
Mhm.
Okay. You had them holding out there. You had the other crew, the rest of their people going off to defend other places. You had the assassin going off on her own way.
Which, oh my god, that
Oh.
last scene where she fucked shit.
Oh,
Oh
shit
my
up.
god. I mean, we're talking about all the other folks. They basically made an Alamo situation happen. That's what they were doing. And then of course, freaking Boba rolls off like, I gotta get some help. Brings in the fucking Rancor. We have fucking duel with like what's his nuts, like
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane.
Oh,
Yep,
what's his
yep.
nuts?
Holy
I prefer what's
fuck
his
balls.
nuts.
Yeah.
Jesus
Cad,
Christ.
what's his nuts Bane?
Everything
Yeah.
about this was a goddamn Western.
Yes.
And Grogu
Yeah.
with the fucking Rancor and he cuddles up. Come on.
Oh, my God.
And he just used his force abilities to like get the gear off one of the Scorpio rider things, whatever you call them. There's like a name for him. But yeah, he like gets a bolt off there and he's like, ooh. And it was so cute.
A little bobble.
Yeah, Din Djarin remembered the little ball.
Oh, that was
He got
cute.
it from
Which means he'd been carrying that around.
Well, that was his only piece remaining in the remains
Yep.
of his ship.
Yeah.
yeah, the
But
Razor
what
Crest.
I love the evolution too of back originally season 1 of The Mandalorian, Grogu with the Mudhorn
Mhm.
knew enough to pick it up and get it out of the way. But on this one, there's been such an evolute set, and maybe it's something he's gotten out of Luke and being nicer to animals and being nicer to other things, that instead of doing that, picking it up and tossing it, now he's just simply putting it to sleep
Mhm.
and cuddling. So there's been a little evolution, I think, of Grogu too.
So we do have some questions that are left at the end of this this series. There's who rescued Grogu. It was confirmed that he was at the Jedi Temple when all the shit went
Order
down.
66.
And when Order 66 went down, that's confirmed. We don't know who saved him yet.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah, there was the flashback when
he was hidden in some way because when the stormtroopers shot the 3 Jedi that were protecting him, they walked right past him.
Yeah,
he was hidden somewhere, and you can tell from the frame he's like in a book bag or in some piping or something.
And I think there's also some speculation. It was, I think, Barriss Offee or her Padawan maybe is possibly the person who rescued Grogu. Ugh, God, I fucking hate saying Grogu.
Yeah, I know.
I'm with Pele, Amy Sedaris.
It's always Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda.
It absolutely is. And you know what? I think even though that was a heavy-handed moment, I don't give a shit. Like, that was cool. That they were like, yeah, everybody hates the term Grogu. It's going to be his name. It's stuck now. But we understand nobody wants to. It's Baby Yoda. It's always going to be Baby Yoda.
We've got to give him a nickname, like how Chewbacca has Chewie. Like, Grogu needs something.
Grogs?
I don't know. Gru?
It's always going to be Baby Yoda.
He's just Baby Yoda.
Gruey.
But in canon...
because Gru's the Despicable Me person.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind.
But before we get done, I have a couple scenes. We have moved the making a drunken scene to the end. One is between Boba Fett and the Rancor Keeper.
All right, why don't we just say Danny Trejo here?
Danny Trejo, yeah.
I'll be Danny Trejo. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
I love Danny Trejo.
I can be Boba Fett, or if one of you want to be Boba Fett on that one.
How about the ladies do the second?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to be Cad Bane.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I've got the Boba Fett tattoo. I will be Boba Fett.
That's perfect. All right, so Grutz, you and me, I am Boba Fett, and you are the Rancor Keeper.
Danny Trejo.
Let's do it.
You're Danny Trejo, so here we go.
See? That is Ren Bear.
A drunken scene.
Perfect thematically. All right, here we go. This is from, I think it's episode 3 of the Book of Boba Fett, between Danny Trejo and Boba Fett. Why does it just lie there?
It's depressed.
This beast can feel such things?
Rancor are emotionally complex creatures.
Why does it wear blinders?
This one is a calf. It was bred from champions for fighting. I saved this one for myself to train. It imprints on the first human it sees. Now that we have arrived, it will begin its training. Also, Champions for Fighting is the name of my Five for Fighting cover band. There you go.
So, little known fact. Some deep cut.
All right, I forgot we were supposed to put like a accent or something on this.
Just some dumb shit.
You do whatever the fuck
you do whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
It don't matter.
But the next one is from the 7th episode, the finale, and this is between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. So Lorna's going to be Boba Fett.
Oh, this is so good.
And Audrey, you're going to be Cad Bane.
I thought I smelled something. If you're looking for a job, you're too late.
Well, I already got a job. I'm here to negotiate on behalf of the Pack Syndicate.
I don't negotiate with gutless murderers.
Well, if that's not the Quackticon, the Stiflin' Slimy.
Clear out. And tell your bosses, we know they're outnumbered.
I won't be counting on the people of Freetown to be coming anytime soon. I paid Marshal Vanth a visit. You should have never left him without his armor. Before you get any ideas, I got back shooters too.
Yay!
Fuck yeah.
I like that we both went like Hatfields and McCoy on that. That was great.
That's fucking great.
I was just hearing like
which is super
kind of appropriate.
like fucking appropriate because like I mean, come on now. Timothy Olyphant was legit in half the fucking Western like badass shows we've loved.
Sure. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Geeks Under the Influence. Obviously, there's so much more that we can talk about this series. There's a lot of mixed feelings on the series. Overall, I really did enjoy it. I do have my misgivings about a few things, but at the end of the day, it was fun. And that's kind of the whole point of Star Wars, is for it to be fun and adventure and just live in this literal, in this case, sandbox of.
And it brought back the fucking Western into the fantasy genre.
Absolutely. And
come on.
Which it should have been to begin with.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we want to hear what you think about the Book of Boba Fett. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear on future episodes of Geeks Under the Influence. And make sure to rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends about Geeks Under the Influence and the other shows on the GUI network, all available at GUIPodcast.com. We'll find you next time for another episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Mike the Hobbit, and join us or die.
Shut the fuck up, Hobbit.
Join us or die. Join us or die. Or I will swallow your soul.
GUIPodcast.com.